In the previous video lessons, we began to learn about the different te'amim, i.e. the various cantillations of the general Shemsag of Adam Kadmon, and specifically about the upper te'amim of the general Shemsag, which are the spiritual lights that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon. We also learned that according to the second method of dividing the spiritual realm, the light of the ears could be classified as the Shemsag element of the private Shemab of the general Shemsag of Adam Kadmon. However, in this video lesson, we'll continue to delineate the different te'amim that came out of the facial openings of Adam Kadmon, and specifically the middle te'amim, what the Arizal calls the te'amim emtza'iyim, which are the spiritual lights that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon. And according to the second method that we learned, the light of the nostrils could be classified as the Shem Ma element of the private Shem Ab of the general Shemsag of Adam Kadmon. After the light of the ears came out of the two ear holes of Adam Kadmon and proceeded to spread downwards till they almost met each other around the chin of Adam Kadmon, what the Arizal calls Shibolet Hazakan, the spiritual lights inside of Adam Kadmon continued to come out of his body through the openings of the two nostrils and spread downwards all the way down to the chest of Adam Kadmon. As the Arizal points out, the numerological value, which is the gematria of Chotem, i.e. the nose of Adam Kadmon, is 63, which is exactly the gematria of Shemsag. This, of course, reflects the fact that the light that came out of the Chotem of Adam Kadmon is an element of the general Shemsag of Adam Kadmon that began to come out through the ears of Adam Kadmon and then continued to come out through the two nostrils of Adam Kadmon, which is the Chotem that we are currently discussing in this video lesson. As we already mentioned, the light that came out of the Chotem of Adam Kadmon also split into two parts, as one part came out of the right nostril, while the other part came out of the left nostril. And just as we learned regarding the light that came out of the ear holes of Adam Kadmon, here too in the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, the light that came out of the right nostril is classified as Or Mekif, i.e. surrounding light, which is considered to be the male aspect of the light of the nostrils. On the other hand, the light that came out of the left nostril is classified as Or Penimi, i.e. internal light, which is considered to be the female aspect of the light of the nostrils. However, since even here in the light of the nostrils no spiritual vessels were created yet, therefore we must conclude that when the Arizal uses terms such as internal and external light with regards to the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, we cannot possibly understand these terms according to their pure natural understanding, but rather as borrowed language, if you will, the same way that the Arizal used these borrowed terms to describe the light that came out of the right and the left ear holes of Adam Kadmon. After all, only in a spiritual realm that actually has spiritual vessels can we speak about internal or penimi that is appropriately positioned inside of the vessels, as well as about surrounding or mekif that is appropriately positioned outside of the vessels. Additionally, just as we learned with regards to the light that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon, the light that came out of the nostrils and proceeded to spread down to the chest of Adam Kadmon was also most prominent in the front side of Adam Kadmon. However, here too, some light spread to the sides of Adam Kadmon and even behind Adam Kadmon, from the height of the nostrils to the height of the chest of Adam Kadmon. But of course, this peripheral light is definitely smaller and much less intense than the light that spread in front of Adam Kadmon. When we continue to investigate the difference between the light that came out of the ears and the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, we'll notice that here, in the light of the nostrils, the two parts of the light actually drew closer to each other as compared to the previous step, i.e., in the light that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon. How so? The light of the ears came out of the right and the left ear holes, which are obviously on the opposite ends of Adam Kadmon's face. However, in the light of the nostrils, the light came out of the right nostril in very close proximity to the light that came out of the left nostril, in the very center of Adam Kadmon's face. This additional closeness in the light of the nostrils alludes to the fact that these two lights have a more revealed nature than the light that previously came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon. Later on, we'll speak in great depth about how this additional revelation is expressed in the letters that represent the light that came out of the two nostrils of Adam Kadmon. With all that said, in spite of the additional closeness that we find in the light of the nostrils, here too the Creator was careful to ensure that the light that came out of the right nostril never met and never struck the light that came out of the left nostril. Rather, these two spiritual lights spread downwards in a parallel fashion, side by side, beginning from the two nostrils down to the chest of Adam Kadmon. As we learned in the previous video lessons, the reason for that was in order to prevent the phenomenon known as Haka'at Ha'orot, which literally means the smacking or the colliding of the spiritual lights. After all, had the light that came out of the right nostril actually struck or collided with the light that came out of the left nostril, as a result of this collision, spiritual vessels would have been created. However, had these vessels actually been created at this stage, these vessels would have captured and harnessed the light that came out of the nostrils, which are truly very intense spiritual lights, in a much too early stage of the emanation of the worlds. If that would have been the case, then the final emanations at the end of the process of creation would not have been able to benefit from these much too intense spiritual lights, even after all the ensuing constrictions. And consequently, physical man would not have been created in the physical world. And of course, the Creator's main purpose in creation would not have been obtained. This is why the Creator was so diligent in making sure that the light that came out of the two nostrils of Adam Kadmon never collided with each other, as was also the case with the light that previously came out of the two ear holes of Adam Kadmon. In the end of our last video lesson, we learned that the 10 Sefirot that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon had a very hidden nature, to the point that the number 10 was barely recognizable at that stage, but rather only the letter Hey which has the gematria of 5. With all that said, the Arizal proceeded to clarify that the letter Hey that represented the light of the ears actually had a subtle allusion to the number 10 in the shape of this letter. As we learned, the shape of this letter Hey is comprised out of 2 other letters. The letter Dalet, which has the gematria of 4, and the letter Vav, which has the gematria of 6. And when we add the value of these 2 letters together, we get the number 10. This indeed is the subtle allusion to the fact that the light of the ears is actually comprised out of 10 Sefirot. However, here in the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, the spiritual light became much more revealed compared to the light that previously came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon. This conforms to the rule of thumb that as the light gradually becomes lower and lower, it also becomes more and more revealed. And certainly the light that came out of the nostrils is of lesser quality than the light that came out of the ears, as we can see on our human face how our 2 nostrils are actually lower than our 2 ear holes, based on the famous secret, Mi besari echazeh Eloka, from my flesh I see God. And this is the appropriate time to point out that the relatively greater light that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon actually became clothed up inside of the relatively lower light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, from the height of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon till the height of the chin, what the Arizal calls Shibolet Hazakan. And indeed, this conforms to the rule that the greater spiritual entity is always clothed up and enveloped inside of the lesser spiritual entity. So how exactly is the additional measure of revelation evident in the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon? Remember the letter Hey that symbolized the light of the ears? As we learned, that letter Hey was shaped as a letter Dalet on top of the letter Vav. However, here in the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, what originally was a letter Hey shaped as 2 letters, here this letter actually split into 2 different letters, into an individual letter Dalet, as well as into an individual letter Vav. And as we've pointed out earlier, the combined numerological value of these 2 letters is of course 10. This is how the 10 Sefirot became even more revealed in the light of the nostrils, compared to the light of the ears, where they were hidden there in the shape of the letter Hey. The next thing that we should obviously be clarifying is what happened with the 2 letters that appeared in the light that came out of the 2 nostrils of Adam Kadmon. In order to understand the Arizal's explanation, we must precede a very important general introduction regarding the light that came out of the ears and the nostrils and the mouth of Adam Kadmon, what the Arizal calls Achaf in abbreviations. What we must understand is that these lights that came out of Adam Kadmon are actually the roots of the Partsufim in Olam Ha'atzilut, in as much they obviously serve as intermediaries between Adam Kadmon and Olam Ha'atzilut. How so? We already learned that the light that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon are the upper te'amim of the general Shemsag of Adam Kadmon, which according to the second method could be classified as the Sag element of the private Shem Ab of the general Shem Sag. Indeed, the fact that the light of the ears is the Sag element, as we just mentioned, tells us that the light of the ears is associated with a spiritual level called Neshama, as well as with a Partzuf called Ima. After all, just as Shem Sag is the third lowest level in the division called Asmab, so too the spiritual level called Neshama is the third lowest level in the division called Nar Nechi. And the same holds with regards to the Partzuf called Ima, which is the third lowest Partzuf out of the 5 Partzufim in Olam Ha'atzilut. This is why the Arizal tells us that the light that came out of the ears of Adam Kadmon is the root of the Partzuf called Ima in Olam Ha'atzilut. According to this train of thought, we'll continue to speak about the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon, which, as we learned, represents the middle Te'amim of Adam Kadmon. Or, according to the second method, the light of the nostrils could be classified as the Ma element of the private Shem Ab element of the general Shem Sag. Indeed, from the fact that the light of the nostrils is the Ma element, we learn that this light relates to the spiritual level known as Ruach, as well as to the Partzuf called Ze'er Anpin. After all, just as Shem Ma is the second lowest level in the division called Asmab, so too the level called Ruach is the second lowest level in the division called Nar Nechi. Similarly, the Partzuf called Ze'er Anpin is the second lowest Partzuf out of the 5 Partzufim in Olam Ha'atzilut. Indeed, this last point is a very relevant piece of knowledge for us, as based on this, the Arizal proceeds to clarify that the light that came out of the nostrils of Adam Kadmon is the root of the Partzuf called Ze'er Anpin in Olam Ha'atzilut. However, before we delve into a lengthy discussion about the intimate relationship between the light of the nostrils and Partzuf Ze'er Anpin in the next video lesson, we'll finish off this video lesson with what we began to delineate in the last few minutes and speak about the light that proceeded to come out of the mouth of Adam Kadmon. That is to say, after it began to come out of the ears and the nostrils, as we already learned. In the writings of the Arizal, the light that came out of the mouth of Adam Kadmon is referred to as Olam Ha'akudim, which represents the lower Te'amim of the general Shem Sag of Adam Kadmon, which according to the second method could be classified as the Shem Ben element of the private Shem Ab element of the general Shem Sag. Indeed, from the fact that the light of the mouth is classified as the Shem Ben element, we learn that this light is associated with the spiritual level called Nefesh, as well as with the Partzuf known as the female counterpart of Ze'er Anpin. After all, just as Shem Ben is the lowest level in the division known as Asmab, so too the spiritual level called Nefesh is the lowest level in the division known as Nar Nechi. Additionally, the female counterpart of Ze'er Anpin is the last and the lowest Partzuf in Olam Ha'atzilut.